Good day. Welcome to part 2 of the 7th day of the cycle. This is a very special closing ceremony that we have for the event. But first, let us dedicate the event to the One Brahman. Om Param Atmane Namah. Atma. This is a very special ceremony indeed, and from multiple aspects. As we know, the sage Vyasa that brought the Shrimad Bhagavatam into manifestation. In this closing ceremony, we will be paying reverence to 29 Vyasas. And this spans a journey of more than 110 million years. The reference to it is in the Shrimad Devi Bhagavatam. The reference for it is at the bottom of each slide, some of these slides. As we heard in the Shrimad Bhagavatam many times, that uttering the Lord's name goes straight to the heart and the purification that it bestows. And I would like to think that uttering the name of Vyasa was the incarnation of MahaVishnu, bestows on us the same rule. Now, as such, consider this that as we utter these names, we travel back from 110 million years to now, we utter the name is Vyasa. We will be going through a spiritual pilgrimage, unlike any other. I don't think you've gone back in consciousness 110 million years. So let's embrace this spiritual pilgrimage as we go through the names of the 29 Vyasas. So how do we get to 29 Vyasas? So we start with the cycles in the creation. There are 4 cycles in creation: the Sat Yuga, Krita Yuga, the Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, and the Kali Yuga. In English, we refer to these as the Golden Age, the Silver Age, the Bronze Age, and the Iron Age. They have a very the ages are vast, and some at times maybe unable to comprehend the depth of the vastness of these spans of the ages. I'll take it in reverse order. The mathematics is easier. We start with the Kali Yuga, then all you're going to remember is the number 4. Because it's 432,000 years. And it is said that we are about 6,000 years in the current Kali Yuga. The Yuga preceding this is double that. So it's 864,000 years. And the Yuga before that, the Treta Yuga, Silver Yuga, it's 1.3 million years. And the first Yuga at the start of the cycle, the Sat Yuga or the Krita Yuga, and in English, the Golden Age, that's 4 times the Kali Yuga, and that's 1.7 million years. Now the mathematics work out quite harmoniously. If you note that Kali Yuga is 432,000 years, and if you add all these yugas, you get 4.3 million years. It's just another 10 added to this number, another 0 years. So one cycle from the Sat Yuga, the Golden Age, to the Silver Age, to the Bronze Age, to the Iron Age, it's 4.3 million years. Now, why is it a cycle? Is because of this unpleasant fact that at the start of the cycle, when we start with the Kali Yuga, the Golden Age, because the 100% of Dharma is upheld fully. And as that age degenerates towards the end of it, 25% of the upholding Dharma has been lost, and the Silver Age is marked with 75% of Dharma that is being held. So that brings the Golden Age to an end, and then we have the Silver Age that starts. And during the course of the Silver Age, the 75% of the Dharma declines to 50% of the Dharma. So only 50% of the Dharma is held at the end of the Second Age, the Silver Age of the Treta Yuga. That marks the start of the Third Age, the Dwapara Yuga, or the Bronze Age. It starts with 50% Dharma, and then degenerates towards the end of it to 25% Dharma. So the Kali Yuga, ladies and gentlemen, on this bright Sunday morning, is we start off with only 25% of Dharma being held. And towards the close of it, that 25% of Dharma being held degenerates to zero. Some descriptions are given, so I've got at the bottom, Shrimad Bhagavatam, Canto 12, chapter 3, verse 18. It says in the Shrimad Bhagavatam that there were 4 parts to the Dharma, made up of 4 layers: compassion, austerity, protection, in Sanskrit, Satya, Daya, Tapas, and Dana. And that degenerates, truth degenerates to untruth, compassion to violence, austerity to discontent, and protection to discord. And more of the untruth, violence, discord, and degenerates more into untruth, violence, dissatisfaction, animosity. And at the start of this current age, again, there's much more. There's 75% of untruth, only 25% of truth is held. More violence than compassion, much more dissatisfaction than austerity, and much more animosity than protection. That's the start of the Kali Yuga. And by the end of it, not much of it prevailed at all. So what do we do, ladies and gentlemen? We started with a very bad handicap, as you sit on Sunday morning, bright Sunday morning, where we are in this beautiful town of Malaysia, out in South Africa, are suddenly got a dark cloud on us that we're entering the stage with only 25% of truth out and 75% of untruth. How do we navigate going forward? Well, this is where we come to the advent of Veda, Vyasa. But the grace of God, the grace of the Absolute, will start with each Kali Yuga as an incarnation of the Absolute. The title of that incarnation is called Veda, Vyasa. And the function of that incarnation is in the title Veda, Vyasa. Veda, what we know the Veda, that from which the truth is. The knowledge holds the truth of the one Paramatman. And Vyasa really means to categorize, to put into categories. So what happens is at the start of the Kali Yuga, when we have the stable overhang of 75% untruth and only 25% truth, one of the Rishi Munis, an incarnation of the Absolute, takes on the function to simplify the Vedas, where it is said in the Kali Yuga, life is short, people's tendencies will be otherwise in such a way that the consciousness of mankind deteriorates. So, the Vedas will in a way be not available to the average person. So what Vyasa does is he takes the Vedas and he splits them into 4, and then realizing that this may also be a bit too difficult, he then splits it into the Upanishads and the Puranas. So by the time we get to the Puranas, you can see the knowledge of the truth has been made simpler and simpler for us to understand. Now, in this particular cycle, the Vyasa, the man who performed the role of Vyasa, is the Rishi Krishna Dwapayana, born of the Rishi Parasara, and his mother was Satyavati. And to give you the name to Parasara, his father was Shakti, Shakti's father was Vashishta, Vashishta's father was Brahma, Brahma was Narayana. So that's the lineage. So, Vyasa, Krishna Dwapayana, who played the role of Vyasa, and he took the Veda, split it into four, as I said, brought it into Puranas. And in this particular cycle, he ended with the Mahabharata. But having done that, it was 100,000 verses. You're looking this way, 100,000 verses. Do you think we can go get through it all in Sanskrit? Well, it's a task, isn't it? So now that Muni approaches him and he says, there's been a great omission. You need to write a scripture which describes the glories of the heart, glories of the absolute, so that in hearing the glories of the absolute, it goes straight to the heart. Hearing the glories of the absolute, it goes straight to the heart, and then he compiled, he died into consciousness, and he brought forth the Shrimad Bhagavatam. Now, why are we all looking bright and happy this morning? Although there's this overhang of the Kali Yuga on us, although there's 75% of untruth that's prevalent, and only 25% of truth prevalent, everybody here is looking bright and happy. Why? We've just journeyed through 7 days of hearing glories of the absolute. You can see the suck of it, isn't it? So that's the duty, that's the grace that's been bestowed by Vyasa. Now, appreciate the significance of it. The Kali Yuga is coming. There's a covenant to return to herself. Untruth is relevant. What to do? There's the advent of a Rishimani, an incarnation of God that does the role of Vyasa, and through that we can hear the glories of the Absolute and resume our journey to unite with the Absolute. You see that? So that's the journey we're going to embark on. With each cycle, every time we go through one cycle, every time before the Kali Yuga comes about, somebody plays the role of Vedas. Now, let's look at these cycles, ladies and gentlemen, and hold on to your seats, because it's going to be like a time warp, unlike any that you've ever been on. So your consciousness is going to go through quite a time warp. One cycle, as I said, is 4.3 million years. 1,000 of these cycles, 1,000 of them, is 1 day of Brahma. Now let's not get into 1 year of Brahma, one line, just mind-boggling. So I see somebody getting dizzy already. So 1 day of Brahma is 1,000 of cycles, and another 1,000 cycles is 1 night. We'll read that out. So while Brahma, during his 1 day of 1,000 cycles, that 1,000 cycles is divided into 14 ages. 14 ages of Manu. So there's 14 Manus over this 1,000 cycles. You see that? Now the good news, ladies and gentlemen, if you feel why you're feeling sleepy most of the day, most of the time, because we at midday of Brahma's 1 day, we're halfway through this cycle of this 1,000 cycles, 1,000 cycles of MahaYuga, which is 1 day of Brahma. We halfway. We on the 6th cycle now. So in other words, 5 Manus have already taken place, and now we're on the 6th Manu, on the 7th Manu, I beg your pardon. The 6th have taken place, and we're on the 7th Manu, and his name is Vaiswata Manu. Now, if you're going to something to do with the forthcoming festive break, look it up. The analogy of Vaiswata Manu, it's much like the story of Noah's Ark. The similarities are quite something. Now, you're going to pause here. Where are we? In the creation, this is the cycles of the universe, right? The 4 yugas, 1 yuga is 4.3 million. 1,000 of them is 1 day of Brahma, and then 1 day of Brahma is divided. There's 14 Manus that sequentially reside over this day of Manu. This day of Brahma. That's okay so far. 6 Manus have already ruled. Now we're halfway through the day of Brahma, and we're into the age of the current Manu, and his name is Vaiswata Manu. So, a little bit of maths, it's not too difficult. 1,000 yugas, 14 Manus, Each Manu rules for about 71 Yugas. We divide 1,000 by 14, you get about 71. So each Manu, during the age of each Manu, there are 71 cycles, more or less, these Yugas. So in other words, it's 71 times 4.3 million years. Ever gotten it? Right? So the current age of Manu, White Swan Manu, halfway of Brahma cycles. It's his age now, and in his age, much like the previous ones, there's about 71 Yugas. Now, in this current age of Manu, of the 71 Yugas, cycles, 28 have taken place already. So the 71 cycles of these MahaYugas, 28 have taken place already. And now, and each time, for each of these cycles, for each 28 cycles, every time there was a Kali Yuga starting, somebody took on the role of Vyasa. There was an incarnation of Exodus to take on the role of Vyasa to simplify the Vedas for people to understand in the Kali Yuga. Already good. So that's what's happening. And this closing ceremony event is in reverence of the 28 past Vyasas and the fourth one that's coming as well. So this comes from the Shrimad Bhagavatam. It's in Book 1, Chapter 3, verses 8 to 34, if you want to look it up. So what has happened is, in this 71 cycles of the current one of the 28 cycles of these yugas have taken place, and for each of the cycle that have taken place, when the Silver Age, Bronze Age ended before we were going into the Iron Age, the Kali Yuga, where only 25% of dharmas are done, there is a Vyasa that simplifies the Vedas for the benefit of mankind, covenant made to realize the self. Good. Now this is the spiritual journey that we're going to follow. Are you ready? So I'm going to ask Rashadeya to come up. And the 128 cycles ago, if you do the mathematics, 4.3 million years, you get 28 cycles. And the first cycle in the current Manu, the first cycle when Vaiswamanda, in the age of Vaiswamanda Manu, when the first Yugas moved, and when the first Dwapara Yuga moved to the Kali Yuga, the first person to play the role of Vyasa was Brahma. That was 117 million. So I'm going to ask Hajadeya to light the first lamp, and so we begin a spiritual journey, reverence to these Vyasas, by lighting a lamp for each one of us. So Hajadeya is taking the first lamp, that is for the first Vyasa, Brahma, 117 million years ago. So it's a spiritual journey, sound the name, and hopefully become recipients, potential recipients, the boon of the grace comes with taking the names. So let us sound Brahma, 117 just like that. When we come to the second cycle, you just subtract 4.3 million from each one as we come closer, and that's the 112 million years ago. And the person who played the role of Vyasa when the second Bronze Age was about to become the Iron Age, when the second Dwapara Yuga was about to become the Kali Yuga, and the second cycle, or when only 25% of Dharma was held, Dharma was not held, 75% of Dharma was not held, the person that revived and made the Veda simple for humanity to understand, and so that the journey towards fulfillment of the human function, the realization of the unity with Paramatma, could continue, and that Vyasa was Prajapati. So let us say Prajapati. I'm sorry, I'm using just the translation. I should say Shri. So let us say Shri Brahma, Shri Prajapati. Great, that's 112 million years. Look at the spiritual journey we're embarking on in consciousness. So I'm going to ask Ashika to come and do the second. And in the interest of time, because of the following ceremony that's about to come, I won't be mentioning names, but Ashika is just going to usher people to the lands, and it's, as I mentioned the name, you come forward and you put it there. So now we're going to go to the third Vyasa, the person who played that role. It's Sri Shukra. Sri Shukra. 108 million years. Then we come to the fourth one. Sri Brihaspati. Sri Brihaspati. 104 million years. Sri Surya. Fourth great Vyasa. 19 million years. Sri Yama. It's the sixth great Vyasa, 95. The seventh great Vyasa, Sri Indra. 91 million years. So once when you're going on a yatra in India, you need a break in between pilgrimages, isn't it? So we just have a short video here because we've traveled from 117 million years to just a moment, please. 117 million years to 91 million years, from Sri Brahma to Sri Indra, from the first Vyasa to the seventh one. Alright? Take a breath. Let's continue with the spiritual journey. And now we come to the ninth Vyasa, Sri Vasishta. 86 million years. And Ashika is just going to help us, everybody. We're going to go in sequence, right? So everybody will get a chance to write with them. We come to the ninth Vyasa, Sri Saraswata Rishi. 82 million years ago. We come to the 10th Vyasa, Sri Tridhama. Sorry, Sri Tridhama. 78 million years ago. We come to the 11th Vyasa, Sri Tridrisha. 70 million. We come to the 12th Vyasa, Sri Vajra. 69 million years ago. Then we come to the 13th Vyasa, Sri Antariksha. 65 million years ago. Mr. Balaji will give it very special name for you. And Maya Jaina will give it very special name for you. You're not going to participate in this. Then we come to the 14th Vyasa, 60 million years ago, Sri Dharma. Right, so you're tired now. Hey, we've gone from 160 million years to 60 million years, gone through all these yugas. I don't know how many yugas of years we've gone through now. So let's just take a break. So we've gone from Brahma and we've just done Dharma. That's 40, we're almost halfway through this journey of all the Vyasas, all right? So this is the time we talk and you say, how's it going? You know, this was like this, it's like this. Interesting, isn't it? Mind-boggling. And what an opportunity to be able to do this. Here we are, collectively, on this journey, spiritual consciousness. The time span which otherwise would be recharged, ready to go? Yeah. All right, good. So we come to the 15th Vyasa, Sri Ayarani. 36 million. Then we come to the 16th Vyasa, Sri Bhagavatam. 52 million years. Then we come to the 17th Vyasa, Sri Veda. 48 million years. Then we come to the 18th Vyasa, Sri Mati. 43 million years. Starting to feel like last year. Now I just want to see, has everybody here done it for this one? The last year, such a small one this week, and depend on you as well to come and light to them. So we'll have Baba Jairam now. The 19th Vyasa, Sri Mati. 29 million years. And then we have the 20th Vyasa, Sri Gauteng. 55 million years. I just want to check. Has everybody had one round at feast? Right? Yes. Okay, so now we're going to start with the second round. Maybe the final. Now, Mr. Bala will be related and MahaYuga will be related as well. So we have the 21st Vyasa, Sri Gauteng. 50 million years ago. So time for another quick break, ladies and gentlemen. Quite a yatra, isn't it? Quite a pilgrimage. 170 million years. Where are we now? What? And we've gone through 21 cycles of MahaYugas. So if somebody can do the mathematics in the mind, you can just say, wow, it's a big number. You'll get it right. You just say big number. 21 times 4.3 billion years. Big number, isn't it? You're getting the maths right. Just a big number. Okay, yeah. So now we come to the 22nd of Vyasa, Sri Vyasa. 26 million years ago. So this is beginning to look like last month, isn't it? We come to the 23rd Vyasa, Sri Song. 22 million years ago. Then we come to the 24th Vyasa, Sri Trinavin. 17 million years. Now we come to the 25th Vyasa, Sri MahaYuga. This is something like maybe just 2-3 days ago now. And now the Yuga just before this one. Sure, no, it's not. Yeah, it is. The Yuga just we'll do two reports. It's the 26th, and we have the Vyasa there, it was Sri Shakti. That was 9 million years ago. Just in the pause for a moment. I'll share everything with me. Then we come to the 27th one, and here we'll stop with the lighting of the lenses. We'll just allocate with these other people, the last two. So now we come to the 27th Vyasa, Sri Jatu Karma. Yes, we have one more person there. Who was it? Now this feels like yesterday, 4 million years ago. It should, because this was the previous Yuga. So the previous cycle. So the previous cycle, when everything, when this creation moved from, the ages moved from the golden age to the silver age, bronze age, and just from before the iron age came about, Then Sri Jataka, he plays the role of taking the Vedas, simplifying it for the benefit of mankind, so that the Vedas are understood. And at the time in the Kali Yuga, where only 25% of dharma is upheld, thanks to his work, mankind could continue with the fulfillment of the human function, the realization of the Paramatma. Now we're coming to this cycle. So this cycle, the 28th Ved Vyasa, current Rishimuni, the 26th or 27th incarnation of the Absolute, that played the role of Ved Vyasa, and give a total gratitude to him, salutations to him for bringing forth the Shrimad Bhagavatam, which he taught to his son Sri Shuka, which was heard by Sri Sutta, and Sri Sutta passed it on to Shaunak Muni at the Naimisharanya forest. It's a lovely name with a nice Sanskrit. It almost reads as if where the Absolute doesn't speak Naimisharanya, but in a wink, in a meaning, all ignorance is gone. Naimisharanya. So that's my naive Sanskrit translation. But what it means is in the time that we had the 7 days of the recital, there could have been moments of illumination, isn't it? And in that instant, ignorance was, the veil of ignorance was lifted, and there was a recognition of truth. Let's do Shri Krishna Ramayana. Let's say Shri Krishna Ramayana.
Sri Krishna Ramayana.
So I'm going to ask our initiator, who's the Daksha Datta, I think that's the name, Dikshana, the one who bestows the mantra. So he's a proxy of the holy tradition to pass on the mantra of meditation. And I think it's just appropriate that we ask him to light the lamp for the current yes. Shri Krishna Ramayana. Let us say this 3 times. Shri Krishna Ramayana. Shri Krishna Ramayana. Now it is, we can't say what's going to happen tomorrow, but thanks to the Shrimad Bhagavatam, book 1, chapter 3, verses 8 to 24, we know what's going to happen in the next 4.3 million years. Because the Shrimad Bhagavatam has said who's going to be the next Veda Vyasa 4.3 million years. Now, this is a time where I'm at my most cautious, because I try and find the youngest person in the audience. And if I have to choose a lady that I think is the youngest lady, I'll never be forgiven by the other ladies. The only ladies is young, and by some divine intervention, we have young Mihan here, who's the youngest person. I've been saying we can ask Mihan here to come, together with his grandmother, Maya Devi, power of which will be studying to come and light the lamp for the future Veda Vyasa, the next cycle, which is going to be none other than Ashwatthama. So let us say Shri Ashwatthama.
Shri Ashwatthama.
Good. And ask Maya Devi Jayaraj come and light the lamp on behalf of Mihar, who's the youngest in the room.
Say hi. Say hello.
Ladies and gentlemen, so here we go. That's the journey, isn't it? Right? Been through 29 cycles, current and future, and for each cycle, we've uttered the name of that incarnation of the Absolute that came forth for the salvation of mankind, the time when only 25% of Dharma is upheld, that incarnation of the Absolute that made the knowledge of the Atma held in the Vedas simplified in parts that go straight in the line. We've embarked on the journey from 171 million years to now, plus another 4 million years to come. And during that time, our consciousness, in our consciousness, we've uttered these names. Just by uttering them, in somehow there's been a connection, and somehow they'll be suspended from them. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for embarking on the spiritual journey. This concludes then the special closing ceremony of this very special Shrimad Bhagavatam recital that we had. And we now bring this to close. As we bring this to close, just to an announcement for the online people that are watching live, we ending it traditionally with a havan, a yajna, the sacrificial priest officiating with the sacrificial fire, created by Shukla, will be taking over. For technical reasons, we will not be able to live stream the yajna or the havan that we will be performing. That is final in the closing ceremony. All the offerings into the sacred fire is to acknowledge the grace of the Absolute, and from our part, an attempt to bring about peace in the world. Thank you.
Bhavan, if I may, just, it's not by chance that it's 30 minutes there. I'd like to request Mr. Bhavan, on behalf of all the members of the school who could not be present here, to put that lamp there, and that lamp represents it for all the Vyasa.
Well, certainly, thank you for the opportunity. I'll do that. There's one lamp that we have, and I'll put it at the feet of Shri Krishna. The invitation to the Shrimad Bhagavatam. Om Narayana Namaskritam Naranchaya Bhavanavadamam Devim Saraswati Vyasa Chakuan Udhira. He gives the bow of the Absolute, Narayana, the incarnation of the Absolute, Narayana, to the goddess Saraswati, the goddess of wisdom, on sound and on language and music, and it ends with the bow of the great sage Vyasa, which is what we do now. All in one Veda text. The bow. Om Haram At Nale Namah. Iti. Om Tam Sa.